Times change and things disappear. Joy and sorrow come and go. Essays in Idleness, or Tsurezuregusa, is a collection of essays written by the Japanese monk Kenko. The opening statement reads, "What a strange, demented feeling it gives me when I realize I have spent whole days before this inkstone, with nothing better to do, jotting down at random whatever nonsensical thoughts have entered my head." Kenko wrote the essays by way of diversion from boredom, writing down anything that came to mind. This is where the work gets its title, and there is a wide range of topics covered in the essays. In this video, we will take a look at the four most prominent topics from the work. Beauty of impermanence and imperfection. If a man were never to fade away like the dews of Adashino, never to vanish like the smoke over Toribeyama, but lingered on forever in the world, how things would lose their power to move us. The most precious thing in life is its uncertainty. Contemplation of impermanence is a major theme in Japanese philosophy. Rather than seeing impermanence as a risk or a source of grief, Kenko and other Japanese monks saw it as a source of beauty. Since nothing stays the same around us, we should appreciate the good times and be able to get through the bad times. Reflecting on the perishability of nature and life provides us with appreciation for all the good things and patience for all the not so good things. It is typical of the unintelligent man to insist on assembling complete sets of everything. Imperfect sets are better. In everything, no matter what it may be, uniformity is undesirable. Leaving something incomplete makes it interesting and gives one the feeling that there is room for growth. Kenko, just like the Taoists, saw beauty in incomplete and imperfect aspects of our daily life. It's easy for us to admire and appreciate things that appear to be perfect, but perhaps we can see more beauty and potential in imperfect things. In paintings, film, and music, it's often the space, emptiness, and silence that stirs the imagination and creativity within us. When things are incomplete and imperfect, there is a possibility for imagination and growth. And where there is imagination and growth, there is undeniable beauty. Kenko states, "In all things, it is the beginnings and ends that are interesting. Does the love between men and women refer only to the moments when they are in each other's arms? The man who grieves over a love affair broken off before it was fulfilled, who bewails empty vows, who spends long autumn nights alone, who lets his thoughts wander to distant skies, who yearns for the past in a dilapidated house. Such a man truly knows what love means." The beginnings and ends of things are great reminders of how beautiful impermanence and imperfection can be. In this example, Kenko talks about how love isn't experienced exclusively during a romantic relationship, but also after it has ended as well. Perhaps the same can be said about before the relationship. Kenko also mentions cherry blossoms and the moon as examples. He states, "Are we to look at cherry blossoms only in full bloom, the moon only when it is cloudless? To long for the moon while looking on the rain, to lower the blinds and be unaware of the passing of the spring. These are even more deeply moving. Branches about to blossom, or gardens strewn with faded flowers, are worthier of our admiration." Kenko was very mindful of the fact that nature is always there to remind us of the beauty of impermanence and imperfection. Simple life. It is excellent for a man to be simple in his tastes, to avoid extravagance, to own no possessions, to entertain no craving for worldly success. Kenko strongly advocated for a simple lifestyle. There is no need to go after excess luxury, no need to own lots of material possessions, no need to go after fame and titles. A feverish craving for high rank and position is second in foolishness, only to seeking wealth. Today, so many of us desire to be wealthy and famous. Even if that's not necessarily true for ourselves, we all know people that desperately want more wealth and fame. Kenko was well aware that gaining wealth and fame would not lead to a satisfying life, and that our thirst for wealth and fame is never ending. He knew the quickest and the most certain path to fulfillment was to be content with your current possessions. Make do with whatever you have, from your court costume down to your horses and carriages. Do not strive for elegance. Kenko's admiration of simplicity did not just apply to possessions and desires, but also mannerisms. He was impressed by individuals who weren't so quick to boast their knowledge or connections. It is impressive when a man is always slow to speak, even on subjects he knows thoroughly, and does not speak at all unless questioned. We all know people who are eager to share their knowledge or enjoy name-dropping. While at first glance, this may seem impressive to some people, ultimately it makes them look insecure and lacking in humility. This is why Kenko admired people who only spoke when necessary. Shortness of life, facing death. You must not wait until you are old before you begin practicing the way. Most of the gravestones from the past belong to men who died young. Kenko meditated on time and death quite extensively during his lifetime. He thought that delaying goals and ambitions until later in life was a terrible idea. We have to value our time and use it well now, at this present moment. Delaying plans will not make your life better. Kenko states, why should it be so difficult to do something now, in the present moment? We all know people who have grand wishes for the future. Perhaps they want to be wealthy. Perhaps they want to live in a specific city or type of house. Maybe they want to live a certain lifestyle and have a certain type of job. A lot of these people also waste their present. They don't live each day to make these wishes come true. In fact, a lot of them despise their day-to-day life. People who hate death should love life. How is it possible for men not to rejoice each day over the pleasure of being alive? Foolish men, forgetting this pleasure, laboriously seek others, forgetting the wealth they possess. They risk their lives in their greed for new wealth. But their desires are never satisfied. While they live, they do not rejoice in life, but when faced with death, they fear it. What could be more illogical? This is perhaps one of Kenko's most striking observations in the whole work. He realized the paradox present in many people's perspective towards life. They fear death like no other, yet they do not enjoy life to the fullest. If anything, they whine and complain that their life is not how they want it to be. What could be more illogical, he asks, and he has a point. It may seem obvious when Kenko points it out like this, but we all definitely know people who have this perspective. Kenko even goes as far to say, a man who fails even for a short time to keep in mind the preciousness of time is no different from a corpse. So if we want to live in a meaningful way, we should always keep in mind how short life can be. Solitude. It is better for a man sunken in grief over misfortunes to shut his gate and live in seclusion, so quietly, awaiting nothing, that people cannot tell whether or not he is at home, rather than that he hastily decide to shave his head and become a priest. Just like many other Buddhist monks, Kenko cherished solitude. He even mentioned in one of the essays that the hermit's way of life is the best, as the hermit does not have any desires, even if he has nothing. Although humans are social creatures, Kenko felt that solitude should be greatly admired, perhaps because he thought that finding another person to really connect with was a near impossible task. How delightful it would be to converse intimately with someone of the same mind, sharing with him the pleasures of uninhibited conversation on the amusing and foolish things of this world. But such friends are hard to find. If you must take care that your opinions do not differ in the least from those of the person with whom you are talking, you might just as well be alone. How often have we found ourselves in a situation where we couldn't fully express our sincere opinions or true feelings, so that we don't ruffle feathers, or simply so that we can fit into a group? Even with close friends, we may find ourselves holding back certain thoughts just to spare their feelings. Kenko believed that if we have to take care of our opinions and thoughts in that manner, we weren't any different from being alone. If we cannot be true to ourselves, just so we can have some friends or a tribe of some sort, we might be better off living a quiet life in solitude. Most of us, of course, cannot survive in today's world in complete solitude. We are all part of a community in one way or another, and we are tasked with the challenge of navigating through our surroundings in a manner that not only lets us survive, but lets us thrive. So perhaps we can incorporate Kenko's teachings by practicing intentional solitude from time to time. Instead of taking the extreme route by aspiring to be a complete hermit, we can intentionally schedule periods of alone time in our daily lives for reflection and self-discovery. The pleasantest of all diversions is to sit alone under the lamp, a book spread out before you, and to make friends with people of a distant past you have never known. Regardless of our immediate surroundings, we all have the choice to become friends with the great minds of the past and present by picking up an inspirational book. This is best done in solitude, and perhaps was another reason why Kenko loved the idea of a hermit so much. By reading books alone, we get to choose our friends, family, and mentors that fit our needs the best. This way, while we might be physically and socially secluded, we will not feel lonely and isolated. Allow me to finish the video by sharing one last quote of Kenko regarding solitude. When you go into retreat at a mountain temple and serve the Buddha, you are never at a loss how to spend your time, and you feel as though the impurities in your heart are being cleansed away. Thank you for watching.